Ladies and gentlemen, the Olympian of the century, Carl Lewis.
Hello. Yeah, it does work. Good evening. Good evening. I'm not going to take too long because Sarah and Sarah will not miss. But what I will say is that I had something I was thinking about talking about, but I heard all the young athletes talking about college and what they were going to do the next phase of their lives. And some of you are like freshmen and sophomore in high school, and a lot of you are going to college. And you know, people ask me all the time. I went to the University of Houston. I didn't hear that selected tonight. What's that all about? But a lot of people ask me, how did I end up going to Houston? And I tell them, you know what? If I didn't listen to God, none of you'd know me. That's a really strange thing, but none of you would know me. Because I was, like a lot of you young athletes know, I was recruited by schools everywhere, and the rules were a little different then. They could call you all the time. The coaches could call you. So they were just wearing the house out every single night. My sister, my mother and father couldn't stand it because they said, you are the one that's going to make the choice. You can go to whatever school you want to go to. And my sister, who was 2 years younger, I thought it was fun that all these coaches were calling every night because she's like in 10th grade, and it was just fun for her to talk to everyone. But for me, it was like the phone would ring every night. And okay, by the way, I'm dating myself, but I know some people who remember there was no call waiting, no cell phones. There was one phone, and it could be busy. Right, there were phones that could actually be busy. Now, the ones laughing know what I'm talking about. So you couldn't just yak, yak, yak on the phone because they might get a real call. And so we used to get these calls every night, and they just constantly. So one day, it was on a Tuesday, my mother said, I can't take it. Sunday, you're going to make your decision where you're going to school. Well, I hadn't made it because it was such a difficult decision. It was the first, most important thing I had to do in my entire life. You know, it wasn't just like, what are you wearing to the prom? It was like, how are you going to affect the rest of your life? And you guys, young people, know how important that is. So she said, you're going to make it Sunday, and it just happened to be Easter Sunday. So I told I whittled it down to like 6 schools, and I told them all, I'll make my decision early Sunday morning. Call me by 9 o'clock. And some of them were on the West Coast and all over the country. So my brother talks to me, and I was agonizing over this call, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to let this thing come to me. So my brother calls me on Saturday evening, and he's in college at the time, and he says, well, you know, where are you going to go? And I said, I think I'm going to go to the University of Tennessee. I said, I think so. But I said, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I go to bed on it, and I wake up early in the morning. And that's not true. My mother woke me up early in the morning. That's true. And she came in and she said, son, where are you going? And I said, Houston. And she turned and walked out of the room, just like that. And I just got up and I said, yeah, Houston. And so then I went downstairs and I told my father, and my father said, yeah, okay, that's fine. And he was just kind of grumbling because he didn't want to admit that he didn't want it, because I was the baby boy of the family. So I'm going from New Jersey, where I grew up, to Houston, Texas, and he's like, Villanova wanted me there in Philly. That's where he really wanted me to go, but he's like, my baby's leaving the house. But he didn't want to admit it, you know. And so the next thing that happened is that all these other people started calling, and I remember the first person that called was from the guy from Indiana, and the phone rings, and my mother says, you know, Coach from Indiana's on the phone. And I said, just tell him I'm not coming. She said, it was your decision. I was like, ouch. So I ended up spending the day telling 5 people that I wasn't coming, and they made sure that they called just to learn that lesson. But when I went to Houston, I met Coach Tom Tellez, and one of the decisions we made, and I wanted to be the best that I could be. And I knew it took hard work. And I understood then, because of the lessons that I learned in my faith and my strength in people, that first thing I realized is that the first person to practice and the last one to leave is the one that has the best opportunity. I learned that early. And I tell one thing, and I want all of you to hear this. This is a very important thing, especially for you young people. When I was growing up, I missed all the parties. Missed them all. missed the parties. I didn't because I was working or doing something, but you know what? Now I give them. So I got to Houston, and you know, I worked hard and did all the things I had to do, and I tried to focus on my teammates and people. And one of the things that you learn when you just listen to God talking to you all the time and listen to the lessons that are coming and let your heart follow that, is that you're going to have all the same challenges. It doesn't make things easier. And it doesn't mean you're not going to have difficult times. And it doesn't mean you're going to win every single race. And it doesn't mean I'm better than anyone else. But it sure makes the path a lot clearer, doesn't it? Because you understand that's where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. I was just a little kid, 5'5", was the slowest kid in the area at the end of 10th grade, and everyone said, you'll never be anything like your brothers and sisters or whatever. You'll never be anything. So what I say to you, it's so wonderful to be here every year because I see all of you young people so grounded in your faith and grounded in your family. And you have an idea what your future is going to be. But you're going to have to always listen to what God is telling you and keep that strength, because you know what? Just because you love God doesn't mean you're not going to have the same challenges. But you're going to be grounded in something that's going to make you get through those challenges. And so the whole goal is for us to see all of you one day proud. I look in the program and I see these people in different leagues and everything. But you know what? Many of you are going to go into college and play sports, and some may go to professional leagues and some may not. And some may go on to be the best ever. We have no idea. But keep your faith strong, keep your family strong, and keep striving. Because the whole thing is to be the best that you can be. And when one day when you finish, whatever that time is in sports, this is something I want you to remember, and I'm going to end on this. Your legacy is not what you did in sports, because that was what was given to you. It's what you do out of and beyond it. That's your legacy, your life lesson, your life legacy. That's what you leave to all the children, to your family, to your friends. It's what you do out of your sport. It's the commitment you make. And if someone can look at you and say, believe your word, it's all they need. That's what it is. So it's so wonderful to be here with all of you, and thank you. And I was really heartened to hear all the wonderful stories about school and the things that you all have been doing. I'm just looking for next year to have more Houston named schools picked. It's Texas still. We're in the same state. What's that? I came from Jersey. You can't go from Dallas down to Texas. You can't get a love for the red Cougars, not just the blue and white ones. but here again, and it's such a wonderful thing. I was just in London last week, and last Tuesday was 500 days till the Olympic Games. Now, I know when you're like 15 years old, 500 days sounds like a long time, but the rest of us, it's not very long. And we're still, and Lewis and I were talking about, we're just still trying to get over Beijing. But it just tells you time is going to fly by, and next thing you know, and your dreams are closer than you think they are. So make sure you live every day trying to be the best you can be. Be that example. Be the one that creates the peer group. I hear they're starting their groups. Be that one they look up to. Because remember, I always miss the parties, but now I give them.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Carl Lewis.